Hi, I am Mahadev Shigunshi. I am the consulting optometrist. I would like to welcome you all to Eye to Eye Gurukul channel. In the last sessions, I have covered basic parts of the human eye and their functions of the each part. So in the last sessions, recent one, I have covered the structural study of cornea, that is the anatomy of the cornea. So today I am going to explain you about the uvea. Uvea is nothing but it's the second layer of human eye or a middle coat of the human eye. The middle coat or a uvea means a grape. It consists of three parts. The anterior posteriorly it has three parts. The first one anteriorly, that is the iris. Iris is a free circular diaphragm with its central opening. It is called as pupil. And the second one, middle part of the uvea, that is the ciliary body. And the third one is the posterior part of the uvea, that is the choroid. Now these three parts has each of one of them have a different functions of their own. So let's see. We'll go through one by one functions of each part of this uveal tract. Let me explain about the functions of iris. The iris with the central opening, that is called pupil. It controls the amount of light entering the eye. Now coming to the second point, that is the ciliary body, the middle part of the uveal tract. The ciliary body secretes the aqueous humor and contains smooth muscles. These muscles are responsible for the changing of the shape of the lens during the accommodation. The next part, that is the posterior, the choroid. It is a vascular layer. It provides the blood supply to the retinal pigment epithelium and the outer half of the sensory retina. We start with the anterior part of the uvea, that is the iris and the pupil. The iris lies in front of the lens and the ciliary body. It separates the anterior chamber from the posterior chamber. Pupil is situated just inferior and slightly nasal side of the center. Its periphery or root is attached to the anterior end of the ciliary body. Now the anterior surface of the iris is divided into two zones. The first one is central pupillary zone and the second one is peripheral ciliary zones. These two zones, their junction is a circular ridge called collarette, which marks the embryonic site of the minor vascular circle of the iris, from which the embryonic pupillary membrane is originated. The ciliary zone is marked by the ridges and crypts, but the pupillary zone is relatively flatter area. So coming to the next, that is the structure of iris. It consists of 5 layers. The anteriorly first layer, that is anterior endothelium. It is continuous with the corneal endothelium. And the second one is the stroma. It consists of spongy connective tissue with nerves and smooth muscles, also radial blood vessels, forming the minor circle of the iris. Smooth muscles, they are in two numbers. One is the sphincter papillae and the second one is the dilator papillae. Now we will go through these two muscles. The first one is sphincter papillae, that is a circular bundle of smooth muscles running around the pupillary margin. These muscles or these papillae, sphincter papillae, cause constriction of the pupil. Coming to the second one, that is the dilator papillae. These are arranged radially near the root of the iris and these cause dilatation of the pupil. Now coming to the last two layers, those are posterior two-layered epithelium. Both layers are pigmented and developmentally derived from the retina. The anterior layer consists of flattened cells and the posterior layer consists of two cuboidal cells. Let me move towards the nerve supply of the iris. It is divided into three parts. One is sensory, second one is sphincter papillae and the third one is dilator papillae. Going through the sensory, that is the nasociliary nerve, branch of first division of the fifth cranial nerve, that is trigeminal nerve. Coming to the second point, sphincter papillae, it is supplied by the oculomotor nerve, that is the third cranial nerve. And the dilator papillae, it is supplied by nerves derived from the cervical sympathetic chain. So this is about the nerve supply of the iris. Now we'll move towards the ciliary body, that is the second part of the uvea. The ciliary body is a ring of tissue about 6 mm wide and that extend from the scleral spur to the ora serrata of the retina. Moving towards the structure of ciliary body. In antero-posterior section, it is roughly an isosceles triangle with the base forward. Iris is attached at the middle of its base. The chief mass of the ciliary body is composed of the unstripped muscle fibers called ciliary muscles. It has three parts with a common origin circumferentially at the scleral spur. The first part of the muscles of ciliary body, that is the longitudinal, and the second one is circular, and the third one is radial. Now the longitudinal muscles are greater part running antero-posteriorly, and the second one is circular concentrically. These are with the root of the iris, and the third one is radial muscles. The inner surface of the ciliary body is divided into two regions. The one is pars plicata and the second one is pars plana. Pars plicata, the anterior part, about 70 plications are visible. Microscopically, they have ciliary processes responsible for the production of aqueous humor. And the second part, that is the pars plana, posterior smooth part is a relatively safe and avascular zone for pars plana lensectomy and or vitrectomy operations. These are covered by the two layers of epithelium continuous with the iris anteriorly and retina posteriorly. Ciliary body extends backwards as far as the ora serrata. At this point, the retina proper begins abruptly. Coming to the next point, that is the nerve supply of the ciliary body. In that we have 2 points here. One is the sensory and the ciliary muscles. Sensory, it is supplied by via nasociliary branch of the fifth cranial nerve, that is the trigeminal nerve. And the second one is ciliary muscles, that is supplied by the oculomotor, that is third cranial nerve, and sympathetic nerves. So let's move towards the blood supply of the ciliary body. By branches of major circle of iris, which is formed by 2 long posterior ciliary arteries and 7 anterior ciliary arteries. The minor circle of lies between these iris stoma. So friends, let me move towards the functions of the ciliary body. It has 3 functions. Number 1, that is the formation of aqueous humor by the ciliary processes. And the second one is ciliary muscles helps in accommodation for nerve. And the third one is ciliary muscles also helps in opening the Schurg's canal and thus facilitates the aqueous outflow. These are the functions of the ciliary. Let me move towards the third part of the uvea, that is choroid. This is vascular sheet, separates the sclera from the retina. It is 0.25 mm thick at the posterior pole and 0.1 mm thick anteriorly. It is attached firmly to the sclera around the optic nerve and at the point of the exit of the vertex veins. Friends, moving towards the structure of the choroid, it consists of 3 layers of blood vessels having supporting structure on either side. That is suprachoroid lamina fossa on the outer side and the basal lamina Bruch membrane, that is on the inner side. 3 vessel layers are, that is the first one is outer vessel layer, that is the Haller's layer. It is the nearest to the sclera and consists of large veins that lead to the vertex veins. And the second layer, middle vessel layer, that is the layer of Sattler. It consists of medium sized veins and anterioles with fibrous tissue. And the third one is inner choriocapillaries. It consists of large fine striated capillaries. Now coming to the Bruch membrane. It is about 7 micron thick. It separates the choriocapillaries from the retinal pigment epithelium. Electron microscopically, it consists of 5 layers from outer to inside. The first one is basement membrane of the choriocapillaries, and the second one is outer collagen layer, third one is middle elastic layer, and the fourth one is inner collagen layer, and the fifth one is basement membrane of the retinal pigment epithelium. Bruch membrane is important for blood retinal barrier function. Friends, moving towards the blood supply of the choroid, it consists of three parts here. The first one is short posterior ciliary arteries, and the second one is two long posterior ciliary arteries, and the third one is anterior ciliary arteries. We'll go through one by one. The first one is short posterior ciliary arteries. These originate from the ophthalmic arteries as 2 to 3 branches. These branches are subdivided into 10 to 20 branches which perforate in the sclera around the optic nerve and directly communicates with the choriocapillaries. And the second one is the long posterior ciliary arteries. These perforates the sclera on the either side of the optic nerve via suprachoroidal space. These reach to ciliary body. They each divides into 2 branches that extends circumferentially from the major arterial circle of the iris, and these are located in the ciliary body. Branches extended anteriorly to the iris. Now coming to the third point, that is the anterior ciliary arteries. The anterior ciliary arteries are the terminal branches of 2 muscular arteries of each rectus muscles, except the lateral rectus, which has 1 muscular artery. The vessels provided supply to the ciliary body and send branches to the major arterial circle of the iris and also to the choriocapillaries. Now we'll move towards the venous blood. It is collected from the iris, ciliary body and the choroid by a series of veins. These leads 4 or more large vertex veins located behind the equator of the globe. The vertex veins drain into superior and inferior ophthalmic veins. Those are cavernous sinus. So friends, this is all about the uveal tract, that is the middle coat or second layer of the human eye. I hope you enjoyed this session. I request all of you, please subscribe my channel and hit the bell so that you will get all the notification whenever I upload the new sessions. I would like to thank you for your kind patience and going through entire my video. Thank you very much.